Let's get back to retirement strategies on the Steve Kiefer Show.
All right, folks, I'm going to do something very, very different here, and this comes straight from my heart. I'm going to have to reset this for those of you that didn't listen to the first part of the show in the first hour, and then I've written a speech. This is a political speech, but it's a political speech that is running for no office. I didn't write this to run for any office. I wrote this because it's from my heart and because I solemnly believe that your investments and the politics in Washington are now inseparable. What happens in Washington will trickle down and have an effect on your wallet and what it contains or doesn't contain. So I'm serious. This is very somber. I'm very serious about this. I'm going to read to you the joke, but I'm not doing it to be funny. I'm doing it to remind you of it because it parallels what we're talking about. The joke went that a broker took a client to see a cowboy movie that was playing, and the client said, "I bet you $20 that there's a limb that's going to knock that cowboy off the horse." And the broker takes the bet. Well, sure enough, later on in the movie, the cowboy rides right under a limb, and it knocks him off. So he pokes the broker, and the broker pays the $20. Well, they get outside, and the client confesses, "Hey, I've seen this movie before. I knew it was going to happen. I feel like I cheated you." And the broker says, "No, it's okay. I've seen it before, too. I thought at least the second time the cowboy would have enough sense to ride around the limb instead of go through it again." So I did it as a joke then, but now it's for an illustration because the government is doing that very thing. They're watching the same movie over and over and over through history with the same results, and they're trying to implement things and hoping to get different results by doing the same thing. Spending more money to try to fix our economy or providing health care, etc., has never worked in the past, not in any country ever. And yet they think that this time the cowboy will go around the tree, but he never has because it's a taped movie. And don't believe for a second that they are spending our money. We talk about it being our money the government's using, but the government doesn't have any money of their own. It all comes from us, folks. It's not our money. If it was, we should be able to claim it, take it back, and tell them no, they are not going to spend it. But instead, they are going to bankrupt our nation by this latest idea of health care as being a right. We should be able to tell them no to pork bellies and earmarks. I tell my staff what they can and can't spend with my money. We have been lied to and brainwashed into thinking that we still have some control over what our government does. We don't. How can tens of millions of voters elect the group we have in Washington right now is beyond my comprehension. They are literally going to spin this country into the poorhouse, and for no good reason at all. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent, or Martian. If you want to see your final days on this earth struggling to make ends meet, and then turn that same struggle over to your children and grandchildren, then keep putting the same people in power. Our election system is nothing like it was when our nation was young. Special interest groups have politicians in their pockets. There's a new movement called SaveTheInsects.com. Are you kidding me? I will still do my job to protect your earnings and supply you with an endless income until the last breath, but Obama and his gang are trying to make my job harder and harder each and every day. That's why I wrote this speech. Nancy Pelosi is not a normal person. Folks, can you see a town full of people like Nancy Pelosi? So if she is so strange, why are we letting her make our future decisions for us? Watch any old movie about the birth of this nation and the wars we fought. Those were real men and women. Today we have a bunch of $500 suited pansies running the most powerful nation on the earth. At least it's still a nation right now. Our founding fathers never fathomed career politicians. They served their terms and then they went back to their farms and factories where they made their livelihood. We have corruption and adultery stories almost every night. And don't you dare tell me that personal character and the ability to do your job are separate. A womanizing politician has disqualified himself from any form of government leadership. So the cowboy will keep being knocked off his horse by that same branch, and we will still keep voting in people who will say anything to get into office and then turn around and conduct their promises the way they see fit, as if they've never done anything wrong. They'll change their mind and think nothing more of it, like putting cream in their coffee instead of drinking it black. If we would vote men in and women of deep-rooted integrity who don't know a thing about politics, this nation would excel beyond anyone's wildest imaginations. Iran and North Korea would be begging us right now not to remove them from the face of this earth permanently. When we go into a natural cycle of recession, the leaders need to stand up and tell the people that we've been here before and we'll make it out just fine. Not sound like a frightened schoolgirl who says we're headed for oblivion if we don't do exactly as some empty-suited bureaucrat says. Instead, if people need assistance, we'll give it to them directly by cutting their taxes, cutting capital gains so money can move freely in the market, not by some impotent stimulus package that hasn't purchased one shovel in America yet. We'll let the poorly managed big business crumble to the street, then take their tools and hard workers and create 3 companies out of one, companies that are hungry to succeed. And if one company we help out pays big bonuses, they will go straight to jail and pay back every dime with interest. Bailout is a word used for one purpose in this great country. That's to get someone out of jail. If a company needs a bailout, the leaders of that company will be audited for the past 10 years to see where all that money has gone, and then assign them a new job working on the assembly line until their retirement. Back when unions stood for the little guy, they were doing a noble thing. Now many of them are as corrupt as our government. They want to force companies oftentimes by extortion and manipulation to meet their demands, forcing the company to die of cancer like GM and other factories. There are millions of hardworking, honest Americans in this land that have been tricked, brainwashed, or coerced into thinking this presidential candidate is going to put a chicken in every pot because that's what he said he would do. Now we won't even have the pot to cook the chicken in. How many times does that writer have to fall before the government realizes they can't make life better by what they're doing? It's never done it, and it never will. I love this country with all of my heart. I love my family, my church, and my clients completely. I want all of them to succeed, but I am here to give you a solemn warning. If things continue as they are, there won't be a tomorrow for you to look forward to. One day we will all wake up and find that we are now at the mercy of the government we thought we were in control of. Elections are coming up soon. Keep the same bureaucrats in if you want to, but insanity is doing the same thing and expecting different results.